Hey YouTube, Dawson Ryder here with my review of Power Rangers Dino Supercharge, episode 14 I believe it was, Silver's Secret. So, this was sort of, not the debut of the Silver Ranger because he already kind of debuted, but the debut of Xenowing and who he actually is, and sort of like actually having the Silver Ranger present. So this week's episode was kind of a lot like last week's in the fact that it was part cool plot stuff and part dumb Ranger filler. And the reason I bring this up again is it just feels awkward. I mean, I've been watching Power Rangers a long time, and usually you have mainly a plot episode, and then you might have a B-plot going that's like really small, and then it would usually be involved with either a small like character thing, which I guess it is here, but it would just seem to not take up such a presence, or it would be something like a side character plot, like Bulk and Skull or Cassidy and Devin. But here, it was as if it was given equal focus, which just feels awkward, especially when we're heading into in-game times to have this major plot development happening, and then giving just as much importance to a really dumb singing plot. Granted, it did advance the Tyler and Shelby stuff, which is kind of an ongoing subplot about their romance, and I'm not really a fan of them personally, but for people that are, it is kind of nice that we're actually getting payoff for that, given that throughout history, you know, there's various Ranger relationships that are given build-up and then don't really have anything happen with it. So I guess it's nice for those people. I just feel that this should have been done somewhere earlier, and maybe made this episode, the Tyler Shelby part, happen not only earlier, but if you're going to make the filler plot important, then do like one of those episodes where it's mainly filler, but then have like a main plot through line going, where it's the main plot is the B plot, essentially. You know, one of those episodes where it's leading into the next episode or the next episodes that are going to be major plot, instead of having it share the focus. It just, for me, I don't think the filler was that well done. It was obnoxious, unfunny stuff to me. But regardless of that, it's more so about, it's less about how unfunny and annoying I found it, and more about it's just awkward placement. I think that we could have been better served by making this just a filler earlier, when having a main plot being like a run through of it, and then doing main plot now and not really having a B plot, if that makes any sense. It's hard to describe. It's kind of the way PR usually does, because PR will have filler episodes with the setup for main storyline happening, and then you'll get to the main story next. It just feels weird to have an almost evenly split. Last week it felt like it was mainly plot, with like 25% of this dumb filler, which again was unnecessary, but this week it felt even, which was just really weird, and I didn't care for it. Like, I don't want to go too much into that part because I just found it unfunny and stupid and I hated it, so I don't want to get too negative throughout the whole review, because the stuff they actually did good was good stuff. They found out that the Silver Ranger, which you pretty much knew the Silver Ranger was a bad egg because he stole their Zord info, but they found out that the Silver Ranger was split into two beings, Doomwing, who they already sort of encountered in a way, and Xenowing, who's actually the good person it bonded with. Now, here's my problem with that. I hate to get more negative right away, but this part really annoys me, because other than this flaw in logic, this was a really cool idea they did. But the fact that he's split, the Energem bonded with Xenowing, but then he split, so Doomwing can use the Energem. I would be fine with that logic if they didn't have this really annoyingly inconsistent logic with the Energems. Throughout the whole season, there's been really weird logic with how the Energem works and how it will literally judge the Rangers. For example, in the episode, which kind of relates to this, where we find out Shelby's a fan of the NZ boys, excuse me, and Chase makes fun of her for that. And it disrupts his Energem because he's being kind of mean. But yet, the evil Doomwing is able to, like, literally just evil, he didn't just tease his friend about her interests, is able to use it. Now, I get the logic of, yes, they're split, but if the Energem is going to disrupt Chase even a little bit for so much as teasing someone, but not able to recognize when your host has turned into an evil twin, I think that's really stupid, and honestly could have been easily fixed if they hadn't done the stupid disrupting your Energem for being basically a flawed person, or a person that will just tease your friends. Everybody does it. Everybody's flawed. That's why I like the Dino Gems, because they allowed the Rangers to just be flawed human beings and not these perfect little goody two-shoes. And it's just a stupid way of behaving, that the Energems essentially behave differently depending on the episode. So that was my only real problem with it, is that it would act like that when it would disrupt for something so small instead of an evil twin. But that aside, I hate to rant so much, but that's my only hatred towards it. Other than that, I think the use of making Xenowing and Doomwing a split personality like Heckle and Snide via the Dark Energem was a really cool and creative use of the Mad Tauren and Tauren suits. Granted, Xenowing's voice is really dorky and he kind of like over and under emphasizes words weirdly, and then Doomwing sounds like an evil Toucan Sam or the teacher from Jimmy Neutron. But it was a really cool idea, I think, making use of those suits in that way, and especially later in the episode when Tyler fights against Doomwing. To make use of the footage in which Kiryu Red and Silver fight each other in Kyryuger when his dad seemingly killed Tauren. It was just, I like when PR does that. They creatively make use of the footage they have, and it was a lot of original thinking, and it was cool. I liked that. I thought it was really cool stuff. They separated them already. It's been proven that Doomwing can't use the Energem, which makes sense now because he's fully evil, but it would be cool if he could if they didn't have the dumb rules placed on it. So he's got that for a while still. The revelation, which we already knew if you read the spoilers, that Xenowing was Keeper's apprentice. I like how it was just kind of shoved to the side like, oh yeah, that guy used to be my apprentice. They're like, yeah, whatever, man, we got a singing competition. But you had that going on. And I'm trying to think what else I wanted to bring up from this episode, because that was mainly it. Because I feel like a lot more happened in this episode, but it was like 50% the singing and then 50% the Doomwing stuff. But like I said, I really liked the creative thinking behind this, behind the two suits and the use of the fight footage between the two. It was just cool stuff. I think that was good. It's just the singing stuff really weighed down what could have been a really meaty a meaty plot episode. But at least we're continuing a trend of these Dino Charge episodes being more solid and having actually good content in them. And even though I kind of know roughly what's going to happen, I'm looking forward to seeing it play out, as I know there's actually some cool stuff coming down the pipeline. I don't know why in the scene where they were waiting for Tyler to face off against Doomwing when they planned to trap him, Kendall couldn't have morphed, because she literally didn't do anything. Like, the other Rangers morphed and she just waited with him unmorphed. I felt like it just kind of summed up, you know, why, like, the way they use her in the show. It was just kind of obnoxious. I just wanted to point that out. But that's pretty much all I have to say. I don't want to keep you here longer than I have to. Overall, I'd probably give this episode a 6 out of 10. It would probably get higher if so much of the episode wasn't if so much of the episode wasn't devoted to this filler nonsense, man. I don't even know what accent this is. But if it wasn't devoted so much to that, then this would have gotten a higher score. It just kind of bogged down stuff, because other than the Energem stuff, which I just find a blanket problem for the series, this had some really solid content that I liked. It was just the filler portion bogging it down. I'm hoping in the future that we get episodes where the filler, or I keep using filler as the default, where the plot is more important than the filler. Kind of like last week's. Even though I didn't like last week's, it was a better balance than this week's. But yeah, overall, 6 out of 10. But anyway, until next time, make sure you have the Crazy Podcast at writersrangerambles.com, and of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, Dawson Writer, signing out.